Time to cover yet another budget release from Mastertronic, and this time we are looking at Kikstart II by Sean Sosson and Andrew Morris, which of course, if you know your games, later went on to make games like the Lotus series and Supercars, and as far as I can understand they were involved with certain rally games on the PC in the early 2000s. Kikstart II, surprise, is the sequel to the original Kikstart, and I was contemplating whether I should cover the original Kikstart, but to be honest, it was great at the time, but compared to Kikstart 2, it is not very good. Once you've played Kikstart 2 and you go back to Kikstart, it feels like it doesn't feel like the same game. In Kikstart 2, or Kikstart 2, whatever you call it, as you can probably gather, your challenge is to navigate different levels or tracks, whatever you call it, on your motorcycle, and the tracks are made up of different types of surfaces, which has to be navigated at a certain speed in order to safely navigate them. Things like mud, you can, the dark patches on the ground, you can race straight through, it will slow you down but won't do anything else, unless you try to do a wheelie, then you will instantly crash. Hard surfaces like the green and brown surfaces, you can easily navigate at full speed, and other surfaces like the big walls, you have to take a bit off your speed in order to safely navigate those, and then you have gates and other sorts of other obstacles which has to be navigated at a lower or higher speed. You can play this game 1 or 2 player. If you play 1 player, you play against a computer. But of course, as is always the case with this kind of game, if you play 2 player, it is by and large much more enjoyable. One good thing about playing against a computer though is if you look at the... We'll wait for the next level. If you look at the interface, because of course it's split screen, they will be identical. At the top left you have your speedometer, speed measuring device thing, and then you have the time showing the time for the different levels and your total time. But as I was saying, because the different obstacles has to be navigated at a certain speed in order to navigate them safely, the computer is not flawless. It will screw up from time to time, but by and large it will give you a very good indication of what speeds you can you have to use in order to safely navigate the obstacles. So, as I said, playing against the computer can definitely be a benefit in that regard. Another thing that was added to Kikstart 2, it is called the course designer, so you can probably imagine what mechanic or gameplay function, game function was added to the game. Probably a track editor, and while it's probably very, very fun and funky to play with a track editor for certain people, I personally am not a fan of editors. I like to play the games the way the original game designer has designed them to be played, and I may be alone in that attitude, or having that attitude, but I've always felt that having an editor in the game sort of removes some of the purity of the game, because you suddenly see that in most cases the programmers will make the editor first and then design the tracks using the same editor. That's often how it works, and they are basically releasing the tool they use to create the tracks. And maybe I'm a bit naive, but for me it feels like it removes a touch of the illusion. But I know there's an awful lot of people that absolutely adore and love course designers, track designers, level designers, or editors even. And it's good for those kind of people that the option was added to this game. There are numerous different tracks actually from A to C, and they are all very different and have various different combinations of the different obstacles. As you can see, these are razors, whatever. They can cause you to explode with rather cute sound, but they can also bounce you if you jump on them, which is something that you need to know, because of course if you land on gravel you will instantly crash. If you land in mud you will instantly crash. Things like that. Because you're playing against another player and of course an overall timer, it is worth mentioning that even though it is tempting to deliberately crash out so you get dragged past certain difficult sections, when you are off your bike your timer runs at twice the normal speed. So basically you are effectively losing an awful lot of time if the game has to progress your screen quite far in order to find a flat area it can place your rider back on. So that was an awful lot of talk about not very much, something I'm very good at. For a budget game, this is an absolutely amazing release. Top quality. Graphics are, for the game type, very fitting and very enjoyable, and I think it is. I think this game looks great. I wouldn't say it looks amazing, but it looks great. It runs smooth as silk. The sound effects are great. The music, it's okay. It gets a bit samey after a while, definitely. But I mean, Sean Sutton, which of course was also responsible for the absolutely brilliant Trailblazer, definitely made a very good game in Kikstart II, and Andrew Morris's graphics are spot on. As a cheap range game, this is so superior to many full price releases made later on, and absolutely a budget classic. So on that note, I'm going to say thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye.